Yeah. All right, so your answer for number 9 should have been 2i. This one doesn't have an I on the bottom because 10 does not have a negative next to it. So, we good? Okay. It doesn't technically where you put the I. Usually you put it behind the number if it looks like this, if it's a whole number. But if it's a radical, you usually put it in the front just because it looks like it blends, it like is underneath the radical sign if you don't. But it doesn't truly matter. You good now?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the back, and we're finishing up this page. We're not doing the last page until next class. So at the top we have a complex number. Now that's not just a plain imaginary number. That means that I have an imaginary part. So that's my imaginary part. But I'm also going to have a real part, which is the a. So this is a real number. So a complex number is defined as something that's going to have a real part and an imaginary part, and it's separated by a plus or a minus sign. You are going to really love adding and subtracting because it's super easy.
For real?
Yes. So when you go to add and subtract complex numbers, you first add the real numbers. So I'm going to circle the real number. So -1 and 9 is what? 8. Then we have a -8i and a -3i. So it's -8 and -3? -11. So your final answer is 8 minus 11i. Make sure when you write the real part first, so the real number without an I first, and then the part that has an I in it second. That's the order you put them in.
And then that's it?
Yep, that's it. 11, same thing, you just have 3 parentheses. So we have -3, 1, and -7.
So you combine all?
Yep, so what's -3 plus 1?
-3 plus 1. Shell
-2 and -7.
Taste assurance.
So -9. And then you do these. So 2 and -3. 5i is -6i. Good job. Problem. So the only difference between subtraction and addition is the fact you need to remember to distribute the negative sign. So this is really going to become -1 plus 2i. -4i minus I, because I have to distribute the negative sign, and then it just can do the normal work. So I want you to go through, do 12, 13, and 14, 3.
Why is there an I by
Because I'm stupid.
like a long, drawn out?
No.
Because of this, you gotta do this, things gotta be stuck here.
No, I just wrote I and I wasn't supposed to. Do I have to? No matter what costume you're in, even if you can't even like see your face, you still know it's you. You know you're still recording, right? I'll just edit it out later. Between that and just his like blank yawn. Are you going to finish your problems? This one's 8 minus 12.
Heading to church. That's two.
And then this negative 10, negative, positive. So negative and a positive just cancel off. So, 6 minus 10.
Was it the fucking face in the family?
That's why I'm geeking.
Recording where? Travis, I was this close to hitting you yesterday. This close.
I'm sure he did.
You in a fucking road. You in a road with skateboard. Just record over that. No, never mind. Just get some of his crap.
Chris Smith, don't even edit it out. Just leave it. Just leave that part in there. Fuck that making those videos.
Thank you. All right, guys, we only have about 10 minutes, and we have about 7 minutes worth of notes. So 13 and 14 are up on the board. Double check your answers. Be careful with the negatives. That's definitely going to be where you screw up if you screw up at all. And the questions on the test are going to be the ones with the negatives. So just keep in mind you do have to ensure you are cognizant of that fact. Let's get down to multiplying complex numbers. The first one's just going to be like any other time you would distribute. So I'm going to take the 6i, distribute that to the 4, 6i, distribute that to the 3i. So I have 6 times 4 is 24, so 24i, plus 6 times 3 is 18, I times I is I squared. We have one step more, only because negative 1 is I squared. So I have to take 24i, and then substitute in negative 1. Because I squared is equal to negative 1. So we end up with 24i minus 18, because 18 times negative 1 is negative 18. And then the only thing that you have to do is flip-flop these, because in order to write it in the order of complex numbers, the real part first and then the imaginary part. So negative 18 plus 24i would be your final answer. Even though this is the order it's supposed to be in, if you kept it like that, I wouldn't mark it wrong. Like, it's still the right answer. Because I squared is equal to negative 1. Now, binomial times a binomial, since we have two binomials multiplied next to each other, that means I have to do the box method or FOIL. So if you prefer foiling, go for it. If not, I'm going to do the box method down here. So 6 to positive 4i. So I have 2 times 6, 12. 2 times I, negative 8i. 6 times 4, 24i. And then negative. This negative next to it, I. Combine your like terms, we have I in those. So it's 24 plus negative 8. 12. And then 24, what's 24 minus 8? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. 16i. 16i squared. I squared is negative. So we have 12 plus 16i minus, well, plus 6 minus negative. Final answer, 12 plus 16 is 28. So I get 28 plus 16i. Once you get 16, I want you to work on 17 and 18, but I want you to notice what kind of numbers are those. Conjugates, perfect. That was perfect vocabulary. Go back, do 17 and 18. I squared is equal to negative 1. That's just from the front that you didn't have yet. So.
You said the exit ticket was homework for this part.
If you didn't finish the book work, it's homework. And the midpoint check you want to do. And then exit ticket we'll do next class, and then I'll collect it all.
So is the box method
The box method is check together. Unless you want to do FOIL, which you can do. And then I just wrote the answer up here. So if you already were able to finish 17 and 18 without looking at my paper, I hope, check your answers. You'll notice that with the conjugate getting a whole number, which is what we are going to need to use next class to rationalize denominators with binomials in there. Just like we were to get rid of the radicals, we're going to have to do that this time. Now, guys, listen please.